Well, my name is David, and today we have something a little different. We are doing something AuthorTube-like and talking about my writing. It's been a little while since I've done something like this, and it's going to be one in a string of a series of videos that are going to be centered around some writing-related things, inspired primarily by an upcoming anthology. This is Half Human Heroes, a fantasy anthology edited by Jeremy Fee. You may know him. He has a fantastic channel. And the unique thing here is the foreword, the introduction, and all the stories are all written by booktubers. So, common bond right there. And one of the stories in here is one that I wrote specifically for this. And it was the first story that I've completed and got published this year. And it still remains at that point. I've yet to complete another story. I got about 70% of the way done with a story that I was working on for the Stygian anthology, and just ran into an extreme block on how to finish that and still have not resolved that. So I missed the deadline to submit to that one. But there's still some fantastic authors included in that anthology coming up. But this is releasing on May 15th. And there will be a video soon coming up where I'm going to do something similar to what Jeremy Fee did in a video that came up today, where he talked about what inspired his story that appears in here. And so I will do the same about the Defense of Beargond, which is my short story that is in here. I just had so much fun writing. Really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all of you being able to get a chance to read this. Hopefully, you already have heard about this and have been able to pre-order it. I will have a link to the Amazon page where you can pre-order it down below. It is, I think, only the Kindle edition is available for pre-order now, but on the 15th, the physical paperback copy should be available for order as well. So I'm reading my copy of it that I got in advance onto my Kindle. And I'm very much enjoying it. I've read the first 2 stories, and I've got just a couple more to read through. I think there's a total of 10 in there. So I'm going to try to get through at least 2 each day so that by the end of the weekend, before the anthology releases, I'm able to do a review of the anthology, because I think it merits talking about the other stories. I will not include my own story when talking about it in terms of the review, but I do want to help give some focus and broadcast on that. And I know the day it releases, there's going to be an original tag going out. I got the questions for that today, and so I don't do tags very often anymore, but I will definitely be doing that one. Ideally shooting to put it up that same day. But today, I want to talk about my publishing history. Most of it. There are a few that I don't have physical copies of because they were published in online formats, and so never had a physical copy to be able to publish. But I wanted to just walk through the publishing journey that I've had, and the release of Half Human Heroes has me very excited to get back into writing and submitting again. I've had a kind of a roller coaster of that this year. And for the most part, I mean, I've done some writing here and there. I've written a pair of reviews for Open Letters Review. You should definitely check out that review website if you're interested at all. There's a wide variety of books that are talked about. It helps give you a feel for what other people are thinking of. So the very first publication where I ever got something of my writing published was Firewords Quarterly. This was at a point where I was just kind of scattershot, submitting everywhere I could. So we have in here, so a short story. So on page 34, So it had a challenge to create an original story in under 400 words using a simple prompt. We received so many strong submissions this time around that we couldn't pick only 4. So the prompt was, as the lights went out, everything changed. And so that led to Lost in a Familiar Place. So 400 words or less. And I still really enjoy that story. You know, flash fiction can only do so much. There's an absolute limit on what you can do. So from there, I'm not 100% sure on which came next. I had a lot of writing and a lot of submitting and a lot of things coming out around the same time. I know one of the earlier stories that I wrote eventually got picked up into Quick Fic Anthology 1. So this is shorter, short speculative fiction. So in here we have, let's see, where am I? Page 51. So this is not flash fiction anymore, but still shorter fiction. So we have in here The Unobliging Princess, which is a story that has a fun little twist about a knight rescuing a damsel who has been captured by a wizard and is held hostage in a tower. But that princess doesn't really want to be rescued by him. Has always been one of my favorite shorter works of fiction that I've written. And I was very, very glad that it finally found a home when it got in there. I am going to look on Amazon online, see how many of these things are still available, in case you're interested in picking up any of these anthologies. However, towards the end, you will see all of these are collected elsewhere. So next, I know one of my earliest big successes was writing for an anthology. So this was a King Arthur anthology, and me and King Arthur go together really, really well. I've read lots and lots of King Arthur. Not even scratched the surface, but it's always been one of my favorite things to read about and to think about and write about. So when a call went out for King of Ages, a King Arthur anthology, and it was basically a concept that Arthur and Merlin are both traveling through time. So it says here, one recurring aspect of Arthurian literature is the notion that he will one day return as a messiah to save his people. Another hallmark of the King Arthur legend is that Merlin, wizard, prophet, and Arthur's most trusted advisor, lives backwards through time. What if Merlin was actually advising multiple reincarnations of King Arthur during various points and places in time and history? And what if this all began at the end of time? King of Ages is an anthology like no other, showcasing stories that reimagine King Arthur at several points in history, from the end of days all the way to the beginning of mankind. I've read all of this anthology, and it's great. So, mine is towards the end here, because again, going backwards through time. So it starts with the most futuristic and ends with the most modern, or not modern, but like the furthest back in history. So this is the saga of Arthur Utherson, and as you could guess by that, it is Norse inspired and set in the Viking Age Icelandic area. So it will not be the last time you hear something like that. Because that was another thing that has always captured more recently had started to capture my imagination around this time, was the Icelandic sagas. Now, one of my stories that was published only online that I can't hold up is called Ogre Hunt, where one of my favorite characters I've ever created was born. That is Ava, who is a monster huntress. And Ogre Hunt, she is hunting down an ogre. And this was completely She leapt off the page from there and stole my heart, my imagination. So later, in Mystic Signals, this is issue 26, so August of 2015, I wrote a story that was a follow-up to Ogre Hunt, taking place almost immediately after. Let's see here. So this one appears kind of early in here. So we have Doppelganger, Danger. I actually have not read through this, but there's apparently illustrations. So now I'm looking to see if there's any other than there at the beginning. Nope. So just these two illustrations. I'm not even sure if that one ties to it, but that one definitely does. Which is the follow-up to Ogre Hunt, which features Ava chasing down her next monster to kill, which is a doppelganger. And if you don't know what a doppelganger is, it is something that is able to replicate someone else, something else. So copy its identity perfectly. To put it in X-Men terms, it is essentially what Mystique from X-Men is able to do. The blue shapeshifter who's able to just transform into somebody else completely. And as you might imagine, trying to hunt down a doppelganger is no easy task because they can transform into anybody at any point in time. So we have yet another King Arthur anthology appearing here after Avalon. So this is one of those. I don't think it had a specific call other than it was stories to take place after the typical King Arthur's. That's why it's after Avalon. King Arthur is dead. Camelot has fallen. Britain drowns in Saxons. These are the stories of what came after. So let's find where mine is in here. I read this one, I think, just last year and really, really enjoyed reading through this. And so, go figure, King Arthur, and we have yet again a saga. The saga of Freydis Beastbane, which I think is my absolute favorite short story that I've ever written. Yeah, that one was really, really good, really fun. And I really enjoyed revisiting it when I read through that anthology. So, at the time when I'm doing all of this, there was on Facebook a writing group, somewhat, of people who, eventually came together as a community. And so the group on Facebook was known as Phoenix Quill. And so they put out a call for an anthology called Monsters. So it is not every monster hides under the bed. We see them everywhere. Trolls hiding under bridges and on the internet. Great beasts hiding in darkness or standing astride the battlefield. Hiding in the depths of space. If you're really unlucky, you might even see one in the mirror. So in this one, we have taking down Goliath, which was the third time that the wonderful Ava makes her return, although she's never named in here. And it is a poem that is written in Spenserian verse, or Spenserian sonnets, stanzas. Yeah, Spenserian stanza. So, the Fairy Queen, the same rhyme scheme, the same pattern, cadence that the entirety of the Fairy Queen was written in. I replicated for this poem, and that was a lot of fun. I should do something like that again. Shouldn't I? So we have something different. So even during this time, I was still dabbling on occasion in science fiction. And so I had something published in Sci-Fi Journal. This is Q1 of 2016. They pride themselves on being kind of a thought-provoking, philosophical science fiction establishment. So we have on 134. We have the First Martian Church of God, which is an attempt to replicate one of the authors who, even at that point in time, I really, really enjoyed and wanted to kind of imitate. And that is Ray Bradbury. So I have a little bit, it's not strong, but a little Bradburian in here, I feel. And of course, this is also my most blatantly religious overtones in a poem. Of course, with that title, The First Martian Church of God. It has a little bit of a theological bent to it. And I really enjoy it for that. It's got some good humor, I feel. And it's just a really, really fun story. And so there's two more that were published. And both of these came after my initial publications, where I had A Merchant in Oria, which was a novella published, and was working through getting Monster Huntress published. Those were my two biggest works by far. And so there was another writing group that I became a part of through the publisher, which was called Our Right Side. And so they put together an anthology called Tales from Our Right Side. So, a collection of stories as mishmashed as the contest they ran for the Summer Literary Journal. Not all is built around Lewis Carroll and Shakespeare, however. Some authors dive headfirst into the dark side with stories that will thrill you, chill you, and make you look over your shoulder. And so let's see here. 133. We have The Portentous Passenger. So another science fiction story. That is just a nice kind of pulpy, action-packed romp that I hope you would enjoy. And then the last one, they had a little short, kind of a journal that they put up online. I probably could find a copy of it and print it. I probably should. But it had Words Like Rain in there, which was inspired completely from a writing prompt, where all it had was Words Like Rain. And so that inspired the title and inspired one of my most creative stories. All of those can be found in here. A Merchant in Oria and Other Tales, where I took my A Merchant in Oria novella that had been published through my previous publisher, OWS Inc., along with the short stories from all of these, and put them all together in one location. So you don't have to buy all these things. And there's, as you can see, there's also some that I haven't mentioned. The Best Birthday, which I don't remember where that one got published, but I do have it in here where each of them were originally published. So I can find that here. Okay, so that was published on an online one. The Best Birthday, PAX Panic would appreciate that one actually, because it was inspired a little bit by a character and a scene from the Sword of Truth series. And the other one that you won't find elsewhere, you won't find anywhere else, is the Nano Knights of Mars, which is another science fiction, another Arthurian inspired, not a saga though. And easily my darkest and most unlike what you would expect from me type of story. So all of those you can get in this. This is available. You can order ebook copy or paperback copy. I'm going to be doing a giveaway here soon. Watch, because I'm going to get a video up very, very soon announcing a giveaway. Or I'm going to be giving away a copy of this signed. And I'm going to also be giving away a copy of this signed. This is Monster Huntress. This is my first novel, my only novel so far. It is book 1 in the Young Huntress series. I fully intended at the time to write a full trilogy. I still think I probably might return to that at some point in time, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to yet. I don't want to force it, but I still have not felt called to on how I'm going to continue her journey from there. I know sweeping strokes what will happen. But this, I'll just read the back to you for it. The world tells Ava she's just a little girl who should know her place, but Ava wants a sword, not a crown. Ava and her father are following in her mother's footsteps, hunting monsters in the 13 kingdoms, seeking revenge for her mother's untimely death. Little do they know that the monster responsible is building up a dangerous force. When the king requests the help of Ava's father in exchange for her becoming a princess, Ava is not pleased. Can Ava escape her fate and the obnoxious Prince of Harborg to live the life she's always known? Or will the dark plans of the monster catch her in his trap? So, there you go. Monster Huntress. This is... I plan to reread this and see if maybe that'll get me inspired in the right way to start writing the sequel at some point in time. Soon. The summer I plan to reread this. That may lead to embarking on the sequel too. But I will also be giving away a copy of this, and you can also buy a copy of this. I will have links to this, and where you can pre-order this down below. So there you go. That is my publishing journey, the places where I've been published and showing you what I've got. And stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about my story in a different video. I'm going to do my giveaway announcement soon in another video. And I'm going to be talking more half-human heroes in the future. I will catch you later. Thank you.